Hello everyone, it's Rosin, and I'm here again with another retro Let's Play. I know I said I was gonna consistently try to update these every Monday, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon after 6 episodes. Which last time around we beat Megaman 1, now we're going right on into Megaman 2. But yeah, I'm gonna try to consistently keep these updated for Monday again. Hopefully I can do all 4 of the parts of the series updated every Monday in a row. We'll see. I'm going to try to record them all this week and then just schedule them out. No real good excuses for why I fell off the train, just decided to use my creative time focusing on other projects, and, you know, as always, life kind of gets in the way of things. But yeah, you know, as soon as you fall off of any routine in life, the best thing to do is to just pretend like it never happened and try to do better and hop back on board. So hopefully we can take some time to enjoy Mega Man 2 in all of its glory, and I'm going to try to be consistent with the Monday updates for a bit again here. Like I said, I have like a full year of retro gameplay recorded for y'all to get through. So yeah, Mega Man 2. Man, every single time I see that intro scene and that title appearance, I'm just hit with this wave of nostalgia. It's like a warm and fuzzy blanket of nostalgia that's just wrapped over my shoulders, and I just feel good inside. Mega Man 2 is by far the Mega Man game I have played the most in my life. I fucking love this game. It's very simple and easy compared to other Mega Man games, in part because the English version, they added a normal difficulty mode, which is basically a easy mode that was added because the Japanese version only has one difficulty option, and it was the difficult mode that we've selected. Even on the difficult setting, this game is not too bad compared to some of the other games in the NES Mega Man library. There's some tricky parts, but I don't know. I think part of it is just because this game has the 2 separate difficulty modes. When I was younger, I would play through it on normal, and then finally I memorized pretty much all the stages, and then when I played it on difficult, it really wasn't that much of a increase in difficulty to offset my knowledge and muscle memory for what to do. Decided to play through Bubbleman stage first here, which I normally don't do. The weaknesses in this game are very generous, let's say, so you can really do these in, honestly, so many different orders, and it's not going to be all that difficult. A lot of these bosses aren't really that hard, buster only. And also, when we get a certain Robot Master's weapon, it's just gonna be a joke, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, I normally never start with Bubbleman stage. I usually start with Metal Man, because Metal Blades are ridiculously powerful in this game and kind of break the game balancing. So you kind of just should do that if you want to play. But yeah, you know, I thought, you know, I'd spice things up a little bit, start with Bubbleman and try to do him buster only first, just see how we do here. And yeah, this is the first time I've done this in probably years. I've played through this game so many different ways, over so many different times across my life. I've owned this game so many times too, like I have the Legacy Edition here, or Legacy Collection version here. I've had, you know, I bought it on the Wii Virtual Console. I even had the, like, iPod Touch version they released, which I beat it, but you do not want to play this game or any type of 8-bit platformer that you need really precise controls with a touchscreen. Do not recommend. Very bad idea on my part. I owned the PlayStation 2 Anniversary Edition when those came out back in the day, and of course I had this on the NES as well, so Mega Man 2 has just always been something that I could always pop in and just enjoy, and of course also I've played it on emulator. Be a little more careful with the spike hallway this time. That's honestly the worst part of this stage, is not dealing with any of the enemies in particular, but it's so easy to just fuck up your positioning and just instantly die because of these spikes on all over the walls and on the ceiling and stuff. But yeah, this is, you know, just for the longest time, whenever I had a free afternoon and I just wanted to listen to, like, Iron Maiden or whatever music I was listening to, or eventually later on in life, podcasts when those started to become a thing, you know, I'd throw on whatever to listen to and relax to, and then just pop in Mega Man 2 or load it up on an emulator or something, and just have a good afternoon. I love this game. It's definitely in my top 10 favorite games of all time. It's always been with me as a thing that I know I can use to relax and just have fun with it. Really just mindlessly kind of waste the day if I need to. And of course there's that really silly jump. Usually I don't die on Bubbleman stage. I think I was just getting a little rusty. I haven't, admittedly, I haven't gone through this one in a little bit, but even then, that's not really a good excuse. I have played this game at least twice a year for probably the past decade. Probably more than that. I know some years I've only played this game about 2 times through, but yeah, you can really crank this game out in an afternoon, especially when you know what you're doing. It is a very simple game, and honestly, if you're watching these and you're like, oh, I've always kind of been interested in Mega Man, never knew which ones to play or whatever, there are some balancing issues that are non-representative of the rest of the games, but Mega Man 2 on normal difficulty will really give you the Mega Man flavor. It's not ideal in many ways, and like I said, the boss weaknesses in this game are very generous compared to later entries, which kind of tighten things up in a way that made it a little more balanced and a little trickier and more difficult, but, you know, overall was probably a better decision that they decided to kind of tighten things up. But yeah, Mega Man 2 is often considered one of the best games in the series, or at least one of the most popular entries, or fan-favorite, beloved entries for a reason. The level design is fantastic. I love the enemy designs, they're so cutesy. Look at these little robot crabs falling down the waterfall, it's adorable. The music is phenomenal. Even Mega Man 1 music was very good, but Mega Man 2 just really ratchets it up, and it just... God, it's just so good. This game is just wonderful. Just a very, very improved sequel than, than what we got with the template from Mega Man 1. And, yeah, I'm definitely going to be dying less this playthrough than I did during that Mega Man 1 Let's Play. Not only because Mega Man 1 is just really fucking hard, and Mega Man 2 is a lot easier, but also just because I know this game like the back of my hand in many ways. Yeah, Bubbleman is kind of a joke. He's often considered one of the simplest bosses. I'm not even really bothering with dodging, I'm just kind of tanking the hits. Keep in mind this is on the difficult setting. On the normal mode, he barely can hurt you. It's very sad and pathetic, so yeah. Honestly, the spikes on the ceiling and accidentally jumping too high, more dangerous than the actual boss fight itself. So, that's Bubbleman out of the way. Now we can move on to our second Robot Master. And we got the Bubble Lead here. A lot of people call it the Bubble Lead, but the reason it's actually called the Bubble Lead, for those of you who don't know, is because it actually shoots out, and basically you shoot it out, and then it lands on the floor and then rolls. And if there's, like, an invisible hole, which there are in some of the later stages, the bubble will fall. So you're supposed to use the bubble to identify those pit traps. So it's the Bubble Lead, because it's leading you in the right direction. But a lot of people thought it's Bubble Lead, like a bubble made out of lead. But that's a little silly once you think about it, because why would lead hurt robots? That just doesn't make sense. Sorry if I broke anyone's childhood by correcting them on this. I know that there's a lot of things. Like, when I learned that the main character of Final Fantasy IV is, I believe, supposed to be called Cecil, I think was the name they used in the voiced 3D version. I was very, very disappointed because I'm pretty sure I had always said Cecil my entire life. So, you know, sometimes that's just how it goes. I feel like every time I record a Let's Play, I have this weird diatribe about pronouncing things, and it's kind of shocking how much this comes up, but I don't know. You know, I think that's just gotten part of gaming history, though. For so long we didn't have proper voice acting, and we didn't know how you're supposed to say these things, and it just kind of became this mass cultural experience of going, oh, that's how you're supposed to say it, when the 3D era kind of came around and kind of made voice acting a standard inclusion in most games, especially as we got into the PS2 gen, and budgets got a little higher. If you have one of the optional, or not optional items, but one of the items that can help you jump up higher, you can get that life, but right now we don't, but we frankly don't need it. Even though we lost those 2 lives to that, those stupid spike traps, but oh well, what can you do? I always love these little gesture guys. You never really get hit by them. They're very easy to deal with, but I guess it's probably there if you rush ahead too far. They probably drop on you pretty good, but don't gotta worry about them if you're doing this. These guys, though, are a pain. Especially, on the difficult mode. They're a little bit trickier to deal with, but luckily they don't do too much damage, and you can kind of get the drop on them. You can try to go for that E-Tank there, but I didn't want to risk it. I think you might be able to get that without items. I'm actually not sure. I normally never go for that. Frankly, not super big on grabbing those out of the way E-Tanks in this game. You don't really need them because this game is, again, pretty simplistic and easy. So here's Metal Man. He will only attack when you shoot your buster, so if you need a moment to breathe, you can just kind of stop firing and reposition yourself. Fight isn't too bad, but it can be a little hard to dodge these just because you're on the treadmill, and also that treadmill will randomly change directions too, which can be tricky to deal with. Am I gonna die here? I recorded this footage forever ago. Oh no, he used the E-Tank! There we go. I just decided to say fuck it. Yeah, I mean, just keep shooting and jumping. Not too hard to deal with. We're 11 minutes in, that's already 2 out of 8 Robot Masters down. That's actually another thing we should talk about. There are 8 Robot Masters in this game instead of the 6 from the first game. They added 2 more. So, that would become the series standard from here on out, except for, I want to say in a couple of, like, the spin-off games, maybe 1 or 2 of the handheld games, there are less, just for, you know, they were shorter games, but I don't actually know off the top of my head. I'm not super familiar with the Megaman Game Boy games as much. I've played them way back when on emulator. Never owned them as a kid or anything. I didn't have them for Game Boy. I just kind of downloaded the ROMs later on. And I, like, beat them once, and I was like, yeah, I'd rather just play the NES games. So yeah, we got the Metal Blades, so you might as well stop watching this Let's Play. The series is kind of over. You can shoot these in 8 directions. As you can see, they barely deplete the energy bar. And also power, like weapon energy refills in this game are so generous that you can basically go through whole levels with this thing equipped, and aside from a few enemy types that these won't work on, you really will not have much difficulty for the rest of the playthrough. These things are powerful. Like these guys, you can't do anything with them, so you just kind of have to walk through, take the hit. I always really loved the look of this stage. It's very pretty. All the different shades of blue. And also the song is just, again, killer. Whole soundtrack is just not a bad song in the entire game. I know there's only like 10 songs overall or something like that, but still, to be commended, for sure. I tried to be coy and see if I could use the bubble lead there. I just decided I would take this guy out the old-fashioned way. I tried to be sneaky and jump on him. I found this other alternative method, though. Usually, when I'm playing this game, I just get hit by those guys and just keep on walking through because I fucking hate dealing with them. In my opinion, the most obnoxious enemy type in the game, and they're all over this level, but if you can keep your jumps up on this top path here, assuming that you can even get to the top path, because depending on which path you took, you may not, but yeah, you can go all the way up over there and get an E-Tank. If you have the crash bombs, you can break down that weird wall that looks like a candy bar. That's always what I've thought of since I was a kid. Oh, also, I'm pretty sure, yeah, wanted that life. Don't give a fuck that I'm almost dead. And also, these floors are slidey, in case you couldn't tell already. Making positioning to get this guy very difficult, unnecessarily so. But yeah, if you have the crash bombs, obviously, you can basically skip this entire juggernaut of dealing with these walker-type enemies and save yourself from probably taking a fair bit of damage. You can, of course, get really good at dodging them and just actually play the game as the developers probably intended, but ever since I was a kid, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna take the damage, or hope I can, like, get underneath them when they're jumping. So the Metal Blades are notorious for working very well on large parts of the cast in this game, as you can see. Holy shit, Flashman didn't even have a chance. Bubbleman also gets completely ruined by Metal Blades. even more so than just the Mega Buster we were using. That fight goes even faster. And we are about to fight another boss that is very susceptible to the Metal Blade. So that's like 3 out of the 8 Robot Masters. Actually 4, because Metal Man himself actually dies to the Metal Blade in like 2 hits on difficult. And I think he dies to Metal Blade on 1 hit on the normal difficulty even. It's been a while since I've played this game on normal. There was a point where I was just like, yeah, I mean, I've played this game so much, I might as well just keep playing it on difficult, and I kind of never really looked back, I don't think. This game's fun. There we go, we got item 3. These would be replaced with Rush, Rush the dog, the robot dog in 3 onward. But for now, we just got items, as they were called. Basically, they're traversal items that we can use, kind of like our robot master weapons that we get at the end of every stage. And it'll help them get to places we couldn't get to previously, and help out with some platforming challenges that otherwise would be very difficult. Part of the reason I always save Heatman's stage for last is because his stage is a lot less difficult when you have all of those traversal items to use. I always love this stage for how fucking weird it is in comparison to everything else. You got the weird robot orb bats with the weird lips. You got these robot bunnies that shoot weaponized carrots at you. The trees always looked a little goofy to me. Yeah, I don't know, something about it. You can see the layers of the sediment and the rock. Very nice attention to detail. These wolves are kind of annoying to deal with, but once you get the pattern down for jumping over that fire, they're really not too bad. Yeah, you can kind of shimmy back and forth like that. I did that one a little too early and I got caught by the trail end of it, but it's fine. See, honestly, a large part of it is that this game and also at the very height of your jump, if you shoot the Metal Blade, it'll hit their toe and you can deal some damage, but I think part of the reason this game is so easy is that enemies just don't do a lot of damage to you. It's very easy to tank through a lot of the problems this game throws your way, aside from, like, obviously spikes and pits and stuff like that, but even compared to a lot of other Mega Man games, I feel like, maybe not spikes, but I feel like there's not a lot of pits to fall into in this game until a little later on. Like, there are some here, but these jumps are by no means difficult. Then, of course, we got a fan-favorite enemy, these not chickens, but these birds with the eggs that hatch into the little baby birds that you can use for some easy farming, especially with the Metal Blade. If you hit the egg before it hits the ground, you'll be able to destroy it before any of the babies can hatch. And you don't have to deal with the swarm that'll come chasing after you. But you honestly should, especially if you have the Metal Blades, just because they can drop, that's a lot of chances for good stuff to drop, including 1-ups and health and stuff like that. Even if they tag you and you got a big health refill out of it, I think it's generally better to just go for it and take the initial hit, because it doesn't do a lot of damage, and I think the health gained outweighs the health lost. So yeah, these you kind of need to shimmy. You just kind of walk back a step and let them jump over you. Their hitboxes are a little weird and deceiving because of how they stretch out their legs, but as long as you take a couple steps back and let them jump over you, it'll be fine. Here's Woodman. He's kind of I'd say one of the trickier robot masters. You really have to be precise when jumping over that leaf shield, and then you have to worry about the falling leaves going back and forth, and I've just never been particularly great at that. I think I got the leaf shield down, as you can see, but those falling leaves always, I always seem to misjudge when I'm safe or when I'm good to go, and of course I died for it. As you can see, we are now low on Metal Blade ammo, but we'll make it work. It'll be fine. And jump. Hit by the leaf, but it's okay. See, like, look how much of his health we've done, and we went into this fight with so little energy. He's just almost done. It's great. Switch back to the Mega Buster for a bit. Just go to town on him. Yeah. Not that hard. And that's it for episode 1. 4 Robot Masters down.